Hi guys.
Hi.
Simon. Hello, Engie. We're very excited today because we having Engie Hassan with us. In full disclosure, Engie is a close friend of Simon and I. Actually, I got introduced to Engie through Simon many years ago, and we are all very good friends. Um, Angie has been a North Pole for us in terms of styling. She's an ambassador for OSAY. She is a stylist, an editor. She's also a humanitarian, and she has worked for Vogue. She has worked with royals, with celebrities. So we're very excited to see, like what she has to offer and to advise for us. Hi, Angie. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Great.
We're very good. Very excited. We love the backdrop.
Thank
You're
you.
missing a
And
couple
then
of OSAY, but
I know, right?
You want to have the high heels.
Well, because I
more
have
than
them on right now. They're my special area.
So I think, we're going to start with kind of, the question that we love to ask is, you started, how was the journey? How did you start? What inspired you to become a stylist? I'm sure, like you come from a family of immigrants. Stylist is definitely not on the radar, like for most of us. How did you start? You know.
So for me, I always had interest in fashion because my mother, she was a working mom and she was a first generation. I'm first generation. She was a lawyer from Egypt. And when she moved to America, she went into a business with my father. And I just saw it was such a struggle for her to wear certain attire and still take the role of an accountant and a business partner. It was like just the hours in the weekends that were spent shopping to look professional and still be feminine was surreal to me. And it was very important for her because she felt like in the industry, she had to look empowering and look like an equal person to my father. And she also wanted to look good and feel good. So she wanted to make sure she also looked feminine and had like color on and looked like a woman in a man's world at that time. And so I wanted to be a designer in the beginning. And then after I went to my undergrad at FIT, I got an opportunity to intern at Vogue. And I saw how fashion styling makes such an impact overall, how they inspire the masses and how much power you have to like kind of push styles, how you can create looks, create empowerment for mankind, literally just from being in a publication to being in an ad. And of course, there's creative directors and photographers, it's a bigger conversation, but the stylist has a lot of opportunity and is able to make such a massive impact in the fashion industry when they put looks together. And I just saw that and I was just kind of like, in the smallest aspect, I was like, well, maybe someday I could style some ad campaigns and, empower to bring back certain classic styles, or always remember, like, you can always get the look for less, or you can always be your best you within the silhouette that you have. So I just always wanted to make sure that like I am able to advocate that. And then I just felt like it was something I had passion for and loved. But then when I studied in Paris and just saw the impact and how their market was compared to the American market, and I did a lot of research, I just saw like it was even on a bigger level where it's like sustainability now too, because it was like they do for us here, it's like more quantity, and for them it's quality over quantity. So it also makes it even more of an impact. And their style over there is very classic and sophisticated. And I fell in love with it over there. I was just kind of like, this is my destiny. It's not just something that I want to do. It's something that I need to do.
I mean, I love that. I'm going to jump quickly. I think, like stylists in the great audience, people don't understand the role of stylist. When I think it's actually crucial because it's an external eye that really links all of the story together and really tell the story of the brand to different eyes. And I think it's such an important role. And I would be the first one to say that, it's not, it should be kind of even more celebrated. Every brand, no matter small or big, needs to have the eye of the stylist to kind of retell the story of the brand. So, I want to ask you something. What would you advise to someone who's starting, especially now? I'm sure it's different from when you started, like with social media, and you have a very strong presence in social media. Like, what advice would you give to someone who's trying to be you?
I think the most important thing is interning. Like you find different areas in the industry that you really love. Say you like, I want to be a stylist. I think it's very important to intern in different areas. Intern with a stylist, intern in a publication, intern with a designer. And then you're going to see all the different areas of fashion where styling is used, because people think styling is just for red carpet or for magazines, but campaigns are made by stylists, lookbooks, sometimes they bring in on stylists to change it. I just think it's very important to like get your hands wet, to start like learning from other people and seeing what to do. And it also kind of sees which area you like the most within the industry. I started wanting to be a designer and a buyer, and then if I didn't intern at Vogue, I don't know if I would have wanted to go in the styling world. I didn't even know back then what stylist was. Like, it was just like, we just back then had Rachel Zoe. This is 2005, 2006. And I fell in love with actually styling accessories most, because for me, it was like, you could change the whole look with adding the right shoe, the right, headband, the right clutch, and just change the whole person, and also keep these looks and switch them up. So for me, it was like learning how also styling technique can make your look so many different ways and bring out your personality. So I think the most important thing is to get experience.
No, I love that. I think it's true. Like everything, like you need to kind of go in the dirt and find your way,
Yeah.
And I think you said something earlier that I thought was interesting, is you now want to work with less of the celebrity royals, but like the everyday working woman that was your mother, and who are your customer. Like how do you cater your job to those people who are actually the most precious? They're our consumer, they're everything. So how do you cater your job to them?
So for me, it started, like, when I look back now, it's actually kind of funny, because I felt like even when I was younger, before in my internships, I worked at my dad's restaurant, and there was a woman there who like just, got divorced and was going through this and having this. And it was like building like a relationship and giving that trust and being like, not saying like, oh, I can make you over, but be like, well, what do you want to work on? What do you want to feel like? Who do you want to be perceived like? And from that young age, like, I literally just realized that, like, it's kind of like I want to say the patience, and I want to like really, I care for people. And I think it's important that you want them to look their best self on their day. It's not about just like you styling them for your moment, because it has nothing to do with that. Is making sure your client feels the best in whichever way that they really want to feel. So that's with the personal shopping clients, and also with the red carpets. But I think like when I just started working with different people and personas of like, she could be someone who just had postpartum and she's a stay-at-home mom, or someone who was a CEO for a company, had 2 kids, and now is going back, a gentleman who, had cancer and now is going back to, these are all real examples, and now is going back to the industry and is very like, it's not even, I don't like to say insecurities, but just feeling a little like they just need like a friend, someone to tell them this is going to look great on you, second eye to make things, the tailoring is perfect, pick the colors that work with them, build their closets. I'm very big on like, let's build the closet first. Why are we like edit out first? Let's see what you have in your closet. And I just start with like a consultation and make them feel very comfortable, making boards for them that, it's an ongoing boards too. It's like, not just boards where like, when I say boards, like a mood board of like what celebrities wear, but kind of like go through the stores that they say they love and finding like other stores that replicate them, show them how it's worn in many different ways. And then I personally like to go shopping for them, make them their own little boutique from everywhere, so it can save them the energy. Because it's such, I've learned a lot of my clients, that just already gives them so much anxiety, like going to many stores and just like seeing so many options. And, it's funny because like I'll have the boutique hidden and then I'll still take them to a store. So they feel like they, they got that motion, and they're like, well, why didn't we do it here? And then when they come into the studio and see, they're like, thank God we didn't like go there. It's just too many brands, too many things. And then I think it's just really listening. What they need to like look like and feel. And it's like, I call it my 7-stage phase. So it's like phase 1, and then there's a phase 2. We keep going with different phases until, they're ready to graduate and go on their own. And then like every couple months or every couple quarters or years, we check in. And for me, I like it because it gives me like a sense of purpose with my company. I think everybody needs to be styled. I'm very blessed. I'm not saying like I don't want to style a celebrity. I'm very blessed to do everything I do. But when you you know, I've had people like recently someone literally calling me crying and just saying that you give me back my life. Like I lost my mother, and you know, she is a huge in this on our industry. And she was like, I feel so much secure about myself, and like I'm ready to go and get anything I want in this industry. And it makes you feel good that you give somebody that empowerment just from the way that they feel in their attire. But I also think it's like some people could have the best sense of style, but they just don't have the time. They can't, like, you know, it's not even with having kids, not having kids. There's so many advertisements out there. And then, you know, I sit there and dissect what they want, dissect what's out there and what works, think of the budgets, and also kind of like hopefully push the envelope a little bit to make them feel, you know, phase 3, make them feel a little bit like uncomfortable. But usually, you know, make them feel uncomfortable and be like, I like this works, you know, usually it works. And just, you know, I think it's very empowering. Like I think for me, I love that. I'm hoping I continue to pivot that way. And I just think it's kind of like gives me some satisfaction to feel that like I made somebody feel good, but like in a longevity, and they're doing different things with that too. So yeah.
I love that. I mean, I feel it's like, you know, like I think, yeah, clothes is way more, it's emotionally, it's way more meaningful than what we make it to be, you know. And, you know, like, yeah, I mean, it's part therapy is what you do. Which I think is very important, you know, like you help people heal, you know. I think we're gonna ask you, obviously, the obvious next question is, so give us a feel, like what are the 2 items that, you know, anyone has to have? Like what are the staples, you know, that across the board everyone should have, you know, in the wardrobe?
I was gonna, someone already showed, like everyone. I definitely think,
I mean,
you know how,
I mean, what I love is, yeah, you're always wearing our shoes. It means a lot to us, you know?
no, but I seriously, they're so beyond comfortable, even pre-pregnancy, it was like, they're a classic staple. They are comfortable. They go with everything. They're easy to put them in your bag. It's not even being living in the city. When you travel, when you're home, I mean, I've worn it with a jumpsuit to a wedding. You know, just of course you have to get the right fabric, the right color. But for me, it was, and it's always a talking piece. It's like, if you're not going to wear a heel, these are the shoes you're going to have to wear. These are the flats. These are the ones. These are like, and someone will always say to me, oh my God, who makes those? They're gorgeous. So for me, like in it's pre-COVID, during post-COVID, it's like comfortable, but like also it's like, I like someone to look at me and say, what is that? That's gorgeous. I want someone, I love that. For me, it's like, you know, they're beautiful shoes. I want people to notice them. I think that those are staples for sure. And they do work, I think, for all different types of women. So, and I think you guys also have men as well now too, right? So that works perfectly. Yeah.
I mean, usually it was it was a unisex shoe. So we're very excited to bring men back into the mix, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So a pair of OSAY, what else?
So I think to build a closet, you have to have a good blazer. I think you have to have a really good blazer. Sometimes I feel like black can be a little harsh. I think it could be a navy blue or a tan blazer, because it's kind of like, if you're gonna put an investment in it, it's all versatile. You can use a tan blazer with denim. You can wear it with a full suit color, and then you can go from work and also just wear it over like a dress. So definitely the blazer needs to be worn and invested. I also think for me, it's like, so it depends on the person and where you're going, but I feel like, I think for everyone's closet, they should have a nice Oxford button-down shirt. Like, well, Simone's actually wearing one right now. And, you know, we've learned to love it thanks to, you know, people wearing them as dresses, thanks to, you know, Sex and the City, Carrie. But I do think there is a way to wear it if it's long enough, and make it a shirt and make it into a dress with the right belt. But I just think it's crisp and it's classic. And again, like keeping this closet completely seamless and being able to use these pieces forever. So you can wear it again with jeans, you can wear them with pants, and you can even have fun with them over like a dress and keep it open. There's so many ways to wear it. And then I think, like, for me right now, like jeans has always been a challenge for me, but I do think having a jeans it's a good mix to have a good classic pair of jeans, because and find them, take the time. You know, even, you know, you guys can email me if you want. I can help you how to find that perfect jean. But I definitely think it's important to have like a good pair of jeans. And there's enough brands out there to really find a good pair of jeans. You want me to keep going? Because I have a lot more.
No, yeah. No, I'm sure. And I think, you know, like, obviously like it's very important subject for our community is your mom and how is your style has changed to this experience or this lifestyle change and all of that, like how does your style and usually like women's how do you think that style change after becoming a parent? Like I say, comfort is huge. Not overthinking is huge. Like in the morning when you have to rush out. So what advice would you give to people who've been through that as well?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of emotions that goes into it. Like for me, it was like my silhouette changed completely, and it was very hard to like I kept the closet filled with all the pieces that didn't fit, and then I was like I didn't want to sit there and buy like one or two or three investment pieces that would make me feel so secure because in my mind I was like, no, I have to lose the weight. I got to get back in my clothes. And then after a while, I just realized like, I want to feel good where I am right now. So I have to buy a couple basics and classics that will stay, even if you're not going to have another baby or you're going to lose the weight or not. And that's why some of these pieces that we just spoke about are transitional, because it's easier to dart the shirt and make it fit. It's easier to take the denim in from the back, and even if they become wide leg, they still can be cute as jeans. So it's a lot of the noise, just like a lot of pressure for moms, once they have the baby. And then it's like, it's going to be like, did she able to like keep her body? Did she able to keep her style? So a lot of that stuff was going on. I hear with my clients, with myself, if you're a working mom or not, there's a lot of pressure with those kind of conversations. And I think it's just something that you have to like write on the wall, write on your mirror, and just be like, I need to just like take a minute to make sure I look good and feel good in what I wear and actually wear clothes. So like there's like a phenomenon with like wearing, athletic leggings as an attire. Like, Spanx makes great leggings that are for work, but I don't, like it makes you get lazier if you're going to sit there and keep thinking. So you still want to look beautiful. And I think the most important thing is to get a couple classics and to just like maybe add an accessory to change it up. Get a good pair of shoes from OSAY the label, get a good pair of like a necklace or a bracelet, and then it'll make you feel, and that's what helped me. Like I was like, let me just get these gorgeous shoes, have them in a bunch of colors. So at least like while I'm transitioning and wearing a bunch of t-shirts with jeans, which is that wasn't my style. My style was very, avant-garde, I would call it, like very editorial. I like to like mix and match. I was always in dresses, and it wasn't as easy after like having a baby. It just wasn't functional and comfortable. So I went more the denim and t-shirt route, but like, I'd wear my Guns N' Roses t-shirt with my OSAY label flats and a cool necklace. And, I still felt so good. Like, and I think that's important. You got to see like, where are you in transition? And then people be like, well, I can't wear jeans to work. So what am I going to do? Spanx makes these great leggings that aren't athletic leggings. So they're appropriately covered your silhouette that you can wear for a professional setting. And then you can wear a blazer. And I always say, depending on how completely uncomfortable you are. So like my clients range from size 0 to size 20. And I have a lot of women in the size 14, 16, 18, 20, like more than over 40 clients. So for me, it's like, working with different silhouettes. So I learned about accessories so much because I think it changes how you'll feel. So if you put like a blazer with a nice tank top even and, black pants, and then you wear a belt under the blazer, it gives you a nice silhouette, and it takes in your makes you like literally having some kind of shape in your body, which a lot of people, that's the number one. They're like, I want a shape. I want to have some kind of shape when I'm wearing a suit, and I think it's very important, like, take that extra mile and get a tailor. Sometimes when you go up a size, and right now masculinity blazers are really in. A lot of the silhouettes are oversized and it looks cute on some people. Some people it doesn't work with because, God gifted them their shoulders are ready. So it's like over the top. So you have, invest in getting a good tailor and then just tailor in some of the classic pieces. So it's, it's more refined and appropriate on the silhouette the way that you would like it.
And I have one last question, and then
Sure.
I don't know if you want to jump in, but obviously for us, it's a huge part of what we're trying to do with OSAY is sustainability and implement, thinking about the next generation, the planet, and the people right now, the artists and everything. So, when you work, like, do you incorporate? It depend on your consumer, it depends on your client. Like, how big is it? You who is inside of the fashion industry, how big is sustainability for you?
So I literally just came back from a conference, and it was like the section I stayed into was all about that. But I've been on this, like, I wouldn't say obsession, but love with trying to see what I can do as a human on this planet to change the world when it comes to everything eco. And then I'm like, I'm in the fashion industry. You know, I talk to Kenza a lot and I get in these emotional roller coasters. Like, what are we doing? What can we do? And, you know, I think the most important as right now, what my job can be is with my clients, with my work is educate. One step is educate classic pieces. So meaning like not fast fashion. So if we can go back to building that closet and keeping like re-educating the mind of like, you don't need to have fast fashion. You don't need to be, you can wear your clothes more than once. So that's step 2. And it's okay. And showing them how to change it more than once. Step 3 would be so they have all this extra clothes that doesn't fit them. And, you know, they take them to some stores that tell them that they are going to recycle them. And we know in fashion, there is no proof that things are being recycled at the moment. There are organizations that will take it and they will give it to like Dress for Success in our own country. Because sometimes when you take it to other countries, you're ruining their infrastructure because they need to have their artisans making clothes and stuff. So that's another thing.
I mean, usually I think it ends up in the trash, right? 2% only is actually reused as secondhand. Yeah. The rest is just trash, so it's a disaster. Yeah, don't count on donations for if you want to overbuy, don't count on donations.
Exactly.
Just, yeah.
I think the most important 3 things for me is like literally forcing that and encouraging and embracing that we build the closet. You need the classic pieces and stop buying fast fashion. Fast fashion is not the way to go. And I break it down to them more. And then number 2 is, like when you have all these pieces, like what do you want to do after that are there? So there's like, ThredUp does a really good job of selling it. And also there's a lot of flea markets. So I just try to like incorporate, because we used to take the items from them and give it to like the Goodwill and all these places. So then some of those numbers at different corporations are still being they're not disclosing everything completely. So I don't want to go into all that, but there are ways that
Voilà. Okay. So I think, okay, so you just said that education was everything for you consumer, and this is how you're approaching sustainability, invest on the other side in building a closet with very versatile and staple pieces. Okay,
yes.
That's good. That's a good advice, I think. Okay, Simone, you want to jump in?
Yes. Hey, Engie.
Hello.
I wanted to bounce back to what you said earlier about the advice that you would give for people that want to get into styling. And you said that the most important thing was experience, as much experience as possible. So I wanted to jump back into that and ask you to share some anecdote of your professional experience. If you could just define a memorable experience, whether it's positive or negative, but I think just giving an actual story or anecdote to our to the people that are watching us could really help.
You froze.
Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So pretty much my experience, I had a lot of positive experience. I always say that I've been so blessed because I've really interned almost at every publication, and I also interned in America and in Egypt. So I really got a lot of different kind of personalities as bosses. And then after all the publications, I went and interned for stylist. So I think my favorite one was because I was so sheltered and I lived in Jersey. And then when I went to Vogue, it was like, like I didn't know what you're even begin. Yeah, like literally, they should write this for the script for part 2. So I remember it was like the first thing I'd do was get tennis skirts for Anna Wintour, and it was like I knew like I came from a business family, so I kind of understood how to use my mind differently, and it was kind of like, okay, so they didn't give me the size, They didn't tell me where to get it. I just had to figure it out. And I had a time frame. So, you know, I didn't really know New York. There wasn't like Google, like it wasn't just as easy back then, 2005 guys. So, you know, I looked up all these places. And the guy like that was like in the car, who was like my driver, was saying like, there's a place that, you know, that sells all this equipment and all these beautiful stuff for tennis downtown. Let's go there. So I'm like, okay. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, she has to be either a couple of different sizes. So then if you went to a size like say 0 or a 00 or 2, it would have been too short. So then I went and got like a bigger size also. So I got like a size 4 or 6 also. And then I found a tailor to make it to like different sizes. Like I kind of like brought 3 different sizes by the waist, but I made sure I went up a couple sizes to get the length. And I remember like it was my favorite story because I was like, it was like there was nothing given to me. It was like figure it out, you know. And it worked out because I got to stay for 2 years, so they loved it. But I just felt like, you know, she's such a big deal. Like even now when I look back, I'm like, wow, I got to, you know, dress her in like the smallest way, you know. So for me, it was like that was very special. And then another time during like the internships, it was like I was going to Dubai back in 2005, and my brother had just met somebody. So we were going there for a Christmas break, and I asked all the accessories editors, can I bring something back for you guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah. I was saying, when I go, can I bring something back for you guys? Just to see difference of like, they didn't know what Dubai was yet or Abu Dhabi. For them, it was like, they had no idea what it was, the UAE. And then when I came back, I brought all these great accessories, and they used it for one of the photo shoots for Teen Vogue. In Annis, we literally had the same kind of necklace, and they used the one I brought instead of the ones that were already out on the runway. And I just thought that was kind of empowering for me because I was just an intern, and I was able to like communicate because they knew I was really into accessories, and they all said I had good eye in accessories. And that for me was like kind of like, okay, I think I have something here. Like, you know, all these major editors like wanted the pieces I brought back and, you know, put them on the table with all these huge designers. And it was amazing for me. So that, you know, that was really special actually.
I mean, I think, you know, like 2 lessons, basically everything is figuratable, and, you know, there to kind of share your opinion. I think that's kind of, I think, you know, like, I think it's important for young people, a young person in the room to, you know, to stay shy and you're like, okay, share your opinion, bring back your perspective, your energy, your creativity, and, you know, everyone has a seat on the table. And I think it's a very important lesson for all of us, you know?
Yeah, I think it's very important for the next generation or people just want to get back into this industry if they left it, is to just remember that, like, think of solutions before, like, you don't think that there's an answer. Like, even when people come intern for me, I always say, like, you know, now there is a lot of ways to find out things or ask another team member. I think for me, when I was interning at Vogue, it was the most important thing because I could see that, you know, when they would get annoyed when every minute you would go to like an editor and ask them a question when I was watching everyone else, and I would just sit there and be like, I would either use my phone and call like people I knew that were like wealthy, you know, people that knew brands, or just kind of like, I literally finding the place in New York where I called my dad because he used to, when he came to this country, he was a taxi driver. So I was like, where can I go in New York to find this, that, and this? And he's like, oh, go to Delancey Street. That's where it all is. That. So like, you know, you have to use all your avenues of connections for everything. Still till today, I do that, you know? So yeah.
I love that. I think it's such a great anecdote. I love that.
Yeah, it was a great story. Thank you. I'm sure it's going to inspire more than one listening to this. Talking about inspiration, I guess I'd like to wrap things up with one last question. Other than your beautiful mom that we know very, very well, do you have another inspiration in the industry that maybe younger people can also look up to?
For like a client of mine, or just somebody that I look up to myself?
Anybody in the industry, or it doesn't have to be an industry, an actor, actress, just any other person that inspires you other than your mama.
Yeah, there's so many people that inspire me. I feel like for me, like the women in my community inspire me. I think like it's very important when you build this, like, I call it sisterhood around you. You know, you inspire me so much. And yeah, I think it's very important. The community.
We didn't hear, yeah. Okay, so the community, yeah.
I think the community is important. Your sisterhood. Like the older I got, I realized I get so inspired by everybody that's around me, my circle. Like you two. Every single time I get inspired, like there's a lot of women that I know, people in the industry that like I do know, they inspire me. I think it's important to build people around you and become friends with people who can inspire you. I think all my life I did have that. I was friends with a lot of women that were a lot older. They're in their 40s and 50s, and I would go to their nonprofit events and build a relationship. Even though like I was only 20, we still had something in common to like be inspired, so I can be inspired by them all the time. And I think it's important to find these mentors or people that inspire you that can also be not arm's length. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, a celebrity. It could be, you know, your friend, amongst your friends, amongst your community. And then just people in the fashion industry. I think there's a lot of stylists that I look up to. There's a lot of fashion directors and editors, designers. I just think that like, because I know how much time consuming and how much passion you have to be in this industry to stay in the industry. And I've been up 14 years on my own, that sometimes when I see like these collections come down and they're like younger than me, or like they're styling the biggest celebrities. Like I have an assistant that worked with me now, God bless, she's like doing one of the biggest NBA basketball, WNBA inspires me. Like, you know, that's amazing. So sometimes it could be your even like an intern or colleague that will inspire you as well.
What did you say? One of the biggest what?
I was saying like sometimes even like I was saying that sometimes even your own colleagues can inspire you as well. Like I had a colleague who was training under me, and then now, God bless her, she's working for you, hiring me, that she's, you know, was able to like fast forward her life that quick. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Engie. It's a great time spending with you. A lot of
Thank you for having me.
Very empowering also as a woman to talk to you and exchange. And I really follow you on the sisterhood and the way of women doing business now. We're not here to compete with men. We're here to do business our way and with our qualities. And I think it's very empowering that we're finally in an era where women are here to support each other, just like sisters, like aunts, like mothers do in a family unit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
love that.
very important. I think it's really great where we're at now too.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you for
I'm
having
gonna
me.
shut down the recording. 1 second. Voila.